Hi everyone, how is everyone today? I'm fairly good. I believe we're on day 7 of our videos. I was lucky enough to go to a crystal bowl meditation yesterday, and I've just noticed there's a lot about in my life about beginnings and ends and beginnings. It was a beautiful time, and I was so happy to catch up with good friends and people like me and to meet new people. It's a community I feel like I can just be open with myself. So it really helped to be able to express myself from a heart place, not just like um, a mask face of like I need to hide back some things of myself. So I've got to express those more spiritual aspects of myself and how I feel about the world on a spiritual level. So during the crystal meditation, I thought it was really interesting. I've been thinking a lot about why I'm here, and it's interesting this world, well, even this time in the world, I actually feel like I'm real. Just because some of the things that I've been seeing with my third eye manifesting so strongly, I started going down that road of the metaphysical, that maybe we are just what we think, maybe we are just metaphysical beings, maybe we are just a part of a dream. And I've been really floating and unsure about if I'm real or not. I'm not sure if anyone else has been there, but when you start seeing things manifest that you haven't been taught about as when you're young, you start thinking about your life and how true things are. And I seem to jump from a lot of philosophical standpoints because I believe they all have value. And this is coming from the stage, I think, therefore I am, which is the standpoint of where I think manifestation begins, because the philosophy I think before I am is that we are a brain in the vat and our physical bodies don't really exist, and that we think our reality. We are not real, we are very tangible. So at a standpoint that is kind of uncomfortable in a way, but in a standpoint it's kind of surreal and awesome in a way. So as I said, I love exploring philosophy and I have studied philosophy as well. Maybe that's why I'm so very open to new ideas, and I think it has helped some of the experiences I've had in life. And so I'll go back to the crystal bowl meditation and talk about my experience. Through it, my heart was hurting, and I think it was a real release for me, because this feeling of being real, there's been at times where I've questioned being here and being a part of this earth and why am I here. And I know it's my choice to be here, but I have had some painful experiences just being myself on this earth and being me. It's only as an adult I've discovered that being me is really awesome, and I'm a really great person. But sometimes these questions say, why am I here? And then I know it's my choice. And I almost died when I was born because I had the cord around my neck and they had to get me out really quick. And I was a blue baby, so I almost died when I was born. But obviously, with technology, during the time I was born, I was able to live. And I guess in my subconscious, that must have been a question that was plaguing me. Why am I here? Why was I allowed to live? Can I go home? And there are guys that ask if I want to go home. And that kind of scares me too, because I have so much people I love on this world. And I always say yes to the choice. I want to be here. I want to be a part of this world. Even through all the experiences I have, I do want to be with you on this earth, even if it does hurt sometimes. And I think that's what my meditation was just healing the distinction of wanting to be here or not wanting to be here. It was just solidifying that I want to be here. And it just felt like during the meditation of the singing bowls that someone was putting a knife in my heart. But I had those same questions. Do you want to be here or don't you want to be here? And I think I did cry during it for a little while. And it seemed like in an instant, everything just flashed for me to my past, which I do very well to forget. Like it's sometimes a blur to me. To now, to who I am now. And if anything, why would I want to go now? I've worked so hard on myself to be the person I am now. And to be able to create happiness for myself and others. And I'm very proud of myself for that. So I don't think anything else came up. It's just, I feel more real now. And I feel like it's okay to be me. It's okay to be able to talk to spirits. It's okay to travel between different worlds. Not everyone understands, and I don't think everyone wants to understand because as I've spoken to you, there are points where I do feel quite scared and I don't know where I am. I know I can always ground, come back to reality, but sometimes my soul doesn't want me to be there, and that's why I'm here today, because every time I go against who I'm meant to be, I get more lost and confused, but not just in a physical matter in my head and in my heart, but in a metaphysical way too. As I said, like I dream reality, like as I said, I can be in bed and my walls go completely white. I wake up and I feel like I'm in a maze. There's been times where I've woken up and there's been writing on my walls. When I embrace who I am, this is minimized and I can ask for it to come into my life. But when I try to shut off with it, it doesn't work that way. It's like, no, I want to remind you of who you are. And life will do this to everyone. But my souls chose to do it in a very strong, you have to listen to me way. Something that's come up with me this morning that's made me think a lot. I've read a post about narcissists. And it's interesting, like I've met a few very strong narcissists in my life and they have influenced my life. But at the time, they didn't destroy me, but they made my time with them very hard. But I survived, and because of them, I've become a better person. Well, I believe that, and that's what I want to believe. Because to believe that I went through that journey with narcissists in my life without feeling like I've got some wisdom from it, it's just terrible. There was a post on one of my groups, Wild Sisters, Sisterhood, and it just got me reminding about how my dad was a narcissist and my boyfriend was a narcissist. My dad supported the narcissist in my life and just reminded me that I'm just not good enough. But what came to mind, because I've done a lot of healing around those relationships, is I let people know about all this happening to me. But why do people reinforce narcissistic behavior and let people stay in that situation? It's like I told my nan, I told my aunties, I told my other family members of what was happening to me. They just thought I was spoiled. They made excuses for my dad, like, because being a single dad when I grew up was just like a really big feat. Like, it was just brave enough for men to stay in people's lives for It's like, oh, he's a good man, he's looked after his kids. This is the thing, because a lot of men that time left a lot of single mothers. And it was like a big feat for men to take the role of the mother and father and caregiver to the kids. So obviously, yes, Dad didn't have any training, he had no idea what he was doing. But no one offered him help. No one offered us kids help. So they just let it happen, saying I was just a spoiled kid. I should be grateful that I had a father, or I can believe that my brother would do that to you. Um, Even though they seen it happen to me. Like, I remember one night at a party, this is when I was like probably in my 20s, I came back home to visit my family, because family's always meant a lot to me, and being accepted into my family meant a lot to me, because I wanted to be where I belonged, well, where I thought I belonged. Family is what I want. Um, yeah, so my dad got really drunk and quite abusive, and I was just sort of trying to sleep. And he goes, Cass, talk to me. I said, Dad, you've been drinking. We don't talk when you're drinking. Cassie, talk to me. I'm going to, lots of swearing here, but I will not repeat it. I'm going to kill myself if you don't come and talk to me now. And then he started calling me lots of swear words. He goes, do you want to see me dead? Do you want to see me dead? I will kill myself if you don't talk to me tonight. Come and give your dad a hug. And I don't talk to my dad when he's in that mood, because he's just an asshole. I have got a relationship with him now, but drinking, it doesn't happen. I don't want to be around him when he's drinking, because he just can't help himself. I know that about him, and I don't hate that about him, but this is not the point. But my dad was just trying to be really nasty to me because his own security. I had to make it all about him. So I tried to knock on the door of one of my aunties and just ask if I could sleep on the floor. She locked me out of the room. I had to go for a walk in the middle of the night, at midnight, just to escape from him. I thought I'll stay, just hang out in the streets by myself until he calmed down. But he didn't calm down. He just waited at the door for me, saying, Cassie, you don't love me. You're lucky I didn't kill myself, etc., etc. You're just a selfish, you know what I mean? And then finally, my uncle, because at this stage I was crying because I just wanted to be away from him. I didn't want to just touch him, because I just felt poisoned by what he's saying to me. And I just got to the stage where I just didn't want any part of that. And that was a boundary I had with him. I just didn't want any part of that. But obviously, he was just in his own sort of mood. But finally, after all this, my uncle just said, go to effing sleep, Michael. Leave her alone. But this is after hours and hours of him saying this to me. So it's funny, though, how people do have power to help people, but they just feel like it's none of their business to get involved. And kind of wonder why my family made that decision, especially about how vulnerable me and my brother were as young kids. And if they just stepped in and found a way to help my dad, if things could be different now. I don't know if it could or not, but it would have helped me a lot of heartache growing up. But still, if I didn't have this heartache, would I be here just talking to you now? So it's a very confusing thing, because I have to honour my life and my experience and my journey. But going from the reason I brought this up is because my dad was a narcissist. My first boyfriend that I had, or fiance that I had, was a narcissist too. And I believe that's how people treated people. And I got reinforcement because at this time I was still talking to my dad and still talking to my family. And because they were used to the cycle too, I was telling them what was going on, but there was no warning signs that came up for them. My dad just said, well, you're lucky you got someone. Don't be a whinger. Um, but, because I didn't trust him, because I said, I'm in pain, I'm hurting. I closed down and I didn't tell anyone what was happening because I thought no one would listen. And I did feel like I loved my first partner. I don't know if he loved me. Part of me feels like maybe it did, but I think we were attracted to each other's pain. And I didn't know what a narcissist was. I just thought people just treated each other. People are just really messed up. And this is how things happen. But it got so bad with my partner that he ended up nearly choking me to death. I had bruises. I had to go, I was a domestic violence situation, and it was the time where I was crying to let me go. You're hurting me, until I went blue in my face, till I decided that it's time to get away. I can't take any more. At first, I thought that I can handle hits as long as he's not screwing my mind. But the thing is, he was screwing with my mind. I thought I was strong, but I was becoming strong in the wrong way. I was becoming resentful and strong, like violently. Like I was becoming not a good person because that's the way I had to survive. But then, I decided for my art, and I guess this is why I'm going to pursue art, and I want people who are creative like me is to learn about art and learn about art journaling. Because my art, I went to university and I started meeting new people and learning different ways of being a human being and living with human beings and existing in society. And I just realized that people don't treat each other like this. And there was at times I was struggling doing what I loved, so I went and saw a counsellor, and I will remember this lady for the rest of my life because she took me under her wing and showed me what it was like to survive, not just survive, but to live. And she overcame my fear of death. She helped me overcome my broken heart that I had with my father, the broken heart I had with my first lover, and the disappointments I had with that. She helped me overcome of wanting to kill myself. She helped me overcome so many deep things that I had, and I didn't have to do it alone anymore. I had really good, strong friendships at this time too, but I never really told until later, until it happened, until after I got fixed, how bad the situation was with my life. And I don't know, I got sort of very tired of talking about sad stories to other people. And I did open up to a lot of people about what happened to me as a kid, and both of them really shocked, and they told me I was courageous and that. And I guess that gave me hope too, because I just thought at the time my life was normal. I knew I was hurting, but I just thought it was normal. But sometimes you just get sick of telling those sad stories, and then you start to compare yourself with others and just thinking, which obviously gives you a lot of anger inside yourself as well. It's like, well, I had this when I grew up, and they had all this care and love and nurture from the parents, and you just think, oh, why couldn't I have that? Why didn't I have that support and love and nurture? I did have my nan, I used to hide with my nan, and she used to look after me, but she passed away when I was still young. And then I had everybody else. I guess at the time, I understand now that they were just trying to learn how to be adults themselves, like, because it's not easy learning how to be an adult. But I rather make the choice to be a good adult that does good things than a neutral adult. And I just realized that they chose to be a neutral adult in this situation because I guess dealing with abuse is not something that's easy. And I guess they just thought it's easier just to shut down and not talk about it in our family. And that's what it was. We didn't talk about bad things in our family. We had to always remember the good things. And that did a lot of damage to me. And even now, because there was so many bad things that came up, it's hard for me to remember the good things because I just rather shut the whole thing out because it's just easier because I like the person I am now. I do believe my past life did shape me, but sometimes I don't like going back there because, I want to look after my child now, my inner child now. And sometimes she's not ready to go back there. And even if a part of my family did love me, she just is not ready to explore that. I, as an adult self, can explore that. And I understand it. But I need to know my inner self is ready to explore that. And remind her always that I love her and I will protect her. And when she's ready, I will give her the answers that she is seeking. But I need to wait till she's ready as well. And there are times when I take it back and just remind her of this happening. And I remind her of when we used to draw together. I remind her how special it is and how she gave me that gift to be able to talk to my mum through art and through talking to nature. I remind her of these things that she's done for me. And I thank her that she was so courageous to let me live through all that. Because I know that it wasn't easy for her, but I guess it's easy for us now because I always reassure her that I'm there for her and there for her always. And I guess there's always going to be healing, and there's always times that as an adult I make mistakes myself. But that happens to everyone. And I think it's these mistakes that I have made to myself that reminds me about my family's mistakes. And I know that my family didn't want to hurt me. And in their own way, they loved me. It's just that they were also afraid of my father as well. And it's because of their own inner child's experiencing the same behavior from their father. And I guess that's why it was so easy for them to make excuses for my father, because that was their expectations of a man that should have protected them, but didn't. So I guess it was just normal for them, my dad, to be abusive because his own father was abusive. But these days, looking back at it now, I can see the logic in that. But if my dad was able to get that help he needed back then, I was just wondering if it could be very different. And I guess this is where awareness is. Obviously, when I was growing up, mental health was still shunned. Mental health, having bad behavior and all that was just private, and it was hard to admit that you had anything wrong with us because it was a very egocentric time where you had to be going to work, you had to function. There was no room for weakness. And I get this. And I'm so happy that there is room for weakness now. There is room to allow people into our life to come and help us. Let's not, I'm glad there's so much mental health awareness and so much awareness with Beyond Blue. So many people sharing their stories, because it's not just going to heal your family, it's going to heal the generation. And I see that, like, my generation now, when I'm an adult, there's so much more awareness and so much more help for people. But when my dad was an adult, things like that were just shunned and pushed down. You don't get involved in other people's business. You just let people be. But now it's very different, and I'm very proud of that. I just noticed I've been talking for 25 minutes, but I'm just happy where we are in society. And I just want people to understand that there's so many things that affect us and affect us deeply, that sometimes no one has control over. And sometimes it's about a community looking after each other, a family looking after each other. And coming back to that, like, there is a place for individuals, there is a place for community, but they must meet in middle. I think when I was growing up, there was a mentality of men were men, men can't have weaknesses, men are more dominant. But growing up, there's more flow and female energy coming in, just saying, look, sometimes it's okay to be vulnerable. You know, more men are being softer now. You know, there's still a lot of bad things happening in this world, but there is a lot more help for those bad things happening in the world, and there's a lot more people opening their heart and reaching out to people to offer that help. Anyway, I will go now. I'm sorry. I'm just really happy about this happening, and I think it's really important for this to happen now. Anyway, love you.